Hey, everybody. Welcome to our book study that we're doing on Hold On to Your Kids with me, Father Jonathan Fastnet, and Mike Smith.
Good to be here, Father.
Good to have you, Mike.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It has been a bit.
Yeah.
We were going to kick off with a little prayer,
Yeah.
and then we're going to jump into a little overview and then jump into part 3
Yeah.
of the book. So, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, I just want to thank you this late summer morning for the gift of family life and for the beautiful human gift of procreation and how you've called men and women to share in your gift, Lord, of bringing life into this world. And we just ask you bless me and Mike as we continue this book study on this important topic of parenthood and your view of parenthood, Lord. And we just ask you bless our conversation and give us your peace. Help me to learn and enjoy, and help Mike to continue to learn as we delve deeper into the truth. And we thank you in a special way for Gordon Neufeld, the author and the editor that worked on the book with Neufeld, and ask you bless them and their lives for this the gift of this book that they've generously put together. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Sweet. Well, so
We were here in the summer,
yep,
and now we're back, and it's fall.
it's fall. Don't call it fall yet. Is it?
It's 52
I
degrees
know.
outside.
Don't call it fall though. I like living in the illusion of until I probably do this with a lot of things in life. I like living in the illusion until
Until
it falls
forces-
apart, until I can't live in it any longer. To me, up here,
It's still
it's
summer.
still summer. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get some warmer weather, but today I'm looking at the gray. It looks like the gray October sky
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. No, I love fall too. Fall is nice, but yeah. Yeah. So it has been a number of months. We did three three segments, kind of an intro segment, and then we did a segment on part 1 of the book and part 2 of the book, the third segment. And now it's our penultimate, I believe, unless we do, I mean, we, depending on how long we want to continue the conversation, we could do two segments on the last one or whatever
Yeah.
But so we're getting, so what happened? Why didn't you stop coming around here, Mike? Like, this is where I live here at the parish, and like
You're here every day.
I'm here every
with
day.
a headset on. Saying,
Yeah.
Where's Mike?
like I was just, no, I'm just kidding.
No, life kind of gets in the way.
Yeah. It did for me too.
Did it?
Yeah, a little
Good.
bit.
So it wasn't just me. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because did you go to Chicago and you had some, or was that before?
The biggest thing that got in the way on my side was a blessed gift of and I hope that Deacon Riley and Father Jordan and John Paul Phillips don't see this and take this the wrong way, but the gift of perpetual hospitality
Right.
for the whole summer. Like, I've been blessed. There's a priest friend who lives with me, Father Brian Sutton, and then during the summer we've had 2 or 3 other priests or deacons or seminarians
Right.
living with us as well. And it's a really nice rectory.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's a really nice rectory. God bless Father Tim Barron for buying it. And but as nice as it is, it's a really open rectory, and there's not much private space in it. And I'm terrible at, in a healthy way, having boundaries and withdrawing and like, getting quiet. So I tend to be like in the thick of
But that's a gift too.
It is a gift, and I loved the summer, and it was really great. Particularly enjoying the new ordination of Deacon Jordan, or Father Jordan, pardon me, Danielson, and the new ordination of Deacon Riley Beecher.
Right.
Like, those were particular gifts, like sharing in those graces.
Oh,
So I wouldn't redo it, but if I did it again, I don't know. I think I would try to have more discipline. I don't know. Yeah.
summer's a time when you lose discipline. And
Yeah.
structure kind of goes out the window. At least in our house, it does.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's certain structure to the school year,
Yeah.
and in the summer, it's more random. Oh, let's go here. Let's
Right.
do this. People show up. People come and visit. We had similar thing too at our house for about a month where everybody was just coming home at various times.
Yeah.
And for a bit, everybody was there. So, and then they brought visitors to visit them.
Right.
So sometimes you'd have,
Which is a fun thing about the Smith home. You
Yeah.
can visit the Smiths and you can bring your friends.
Yeah,
Which is cool.
so we felt like
My folks let me do that
Did
too.
they?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's no wonder you fit in at our house then. It just come on in.
Many, many people have told me, "Oh, just go into the fridge. Oh, make yourself at home." I can't do that in everybody's house, even if they say it. But in the Smith home,
You
I
can do
actually
that.
do feel that comfortable, And I
We're-
think
we're
I
used
felt
to it.
I felt that comfortable pretty fast
Yeah,
going
well,
in your fridge and finding out what's there.
and when everybody's there, not much. It goes pretty fast. So, but that was great. To have, we had our grandkids for I think 17 days. They were there,
Yeah,
and of course Anna and her husband, and then all the other kids coming back from their various adventures and
Yeah.
and staying, and it was good.
and you had something else big in between.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at the end of for a month, at the end of June
Yeah.
until the end of July, my father had a stroke, and then he had another stroke, and each stroke, and he finally had a third one. Each stroke debilitated him a little bit more, and to the point where he was unable to swallow or move his left side of his body or speak, and then we knew he was on his journey to death,
yeah,
and he did too.
yeah.
So we sat with him for that journey, 13 days
Hmm.
of knowing, and it was a gift too.
Yeah,
My mom passed away 6 years ago, suddenly in a pedestrian auto accident. So we had no time to talk to her and
Right.
share.
right.
And so this was the exact opposite. We had
Yeah.
2 weeks, 13 days of sitting at his bedside and praying with him, and so many wonderful people came to visit, relatives, friends, neighbors, priests. It was really a gift to have.
Sounds like a really grace time.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I felt like I was sorry, I'm adjusting this a little bit, but I felt like, and I imagine other people who know your family and are a little bit tied to you guys felt the same way. I felt like even before your dad died, I was experiencing some grace from the
Oh.
period, for like kind of through you guys a little bit. Like it just, I don't know, it felt like a
No.
blessed time, and I felt like I was benefiting in a secondary way from some of that.
I think a lot of people felt that way
Hmm.
because it's a rare opportunity to have that time to say thank you and to pray and to make amends if you have to,
Yeah.
and to watch so many people coming to his bedside and holding his hand, and it was really beautiful. In fact, we had a Nigerian priest who had just become a priest in my dad's not my dad's parish, but where the hospital was there. And he walked in and he said, "Oh, in my country, this is the most important time."
Mm.
And we all looked at each other and said, "Yeah." In America, we tend to hurry through things,
Yeah.
or it takes place in a way that's not sacred.
Yeah.
And he said, in our country, we pray and we sit, and this is the most important time.
Yeah.
So it was good to hear him reaffirm that this is what God calls us to do, right? Bury
Yeah.
the dead.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and my dad was 90. He lived a great life.
Yeah.
I got to tell you this, Father. I was just thinking of this yesterday. Our parish church, where we all grew up, is about a mile from where my dad grew up. And out the back door of the parish church, about 30 yards away, is a cemetery. So
Yeah.
you go from the church right to the cemetery. And where my dad is buried, you can look at the house where he was born. And I think
Wild.
how many people can say that most of his life was lived within 1 mile
1 mile.
between his farm and where he was born and where he is buried now. I don't know. It just struck me as
Yeah.
such a unity of life the earth, the church,
Yeah.
and the family. That's
Yeah.
it. That's what he had.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it was a great gift. So many gifts in my whole life from my father. But
You can have an
yeah,
expansive life within 1 mile, you know?
isn't
Like,
that something?
yeah. You can have a
Yeah,
far-reaching, expansive life with a lot of different experiences
right,
within. Not that he didn't ever go beyond the 1 mile, but like so much of his life was lived within that one
right
mile.
there,
And
1 mile.
yeah,
Yeah, but everything he really valued was within that mile.
yeah,
The house that was his family, and the fields around him where he worked, and then the church where he practiced his faith for 90 years, where he was baptized, and
yeah.
all. So anyway, a lot of gifts.
It's beautiful.
It really was, and
Remind me your dad's name again.
John Smith.
John Smith.
Tell me that wasn't a burden to be named John Smith.
Your name's not the most terribly original either, Mike.
That's right.
No offense.
No, that's right. But it made me think a lot, Father, as I was going through. You get nostalgic.
Yeah.
I remember how much of it is part of this book, because we grew up in a time when you held on to adults,
Yeah,
and adults held on to their kids in
Yeah.
a different way than we do today,
yeah,
and it was much simpler, because, well, living on a farm, you didn't have so much peer orientation.
yeah.
Maybe if you lived in town, it was a little more pressure, but
Right.
once summer hit, there was you went to mass on Sunday and saw a few people. And other than that, you were with the adults in your life, my
Right.
uncles, my grandparents, my parents, and that was we didn't think it was abnormal, but by today's standard, it would seem out of the ordinary, not abnormal, out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
With
No,
so many
it's
adults.
more normal.
Yeah,
You're
right,
in the sense of being healthy and part of
right.
God's plan for that cohesive family unit and
And easy to
but to,
attach.
but not healthy, but Neufeld uses that distinction, right? We talked about that before. Like sometimes what's not normal to our
Sure.
circumstances doesn't mean it's not what's healthy.
Right,
Where, yeah,
right.
yeah,
So when I go back to the book, now
Hmm.
I think makes me think a lot about my own upbringing and
yeah,
the benefits of that, being so attached to grandparents and parents that you just took for granted. But now I can see, whoa, no, that was foundational.
yeah,
And it allowed me to grow, and I think my siblings to grow in ways that perhaps some of our children, and certainly the ones that Newfield
Yeah.
is targeting,
yeah,
don't have that. Today we call it a luxury.
yeah.
In those days, it was just a given.
You know what's interesting about this book study, and I don't think we drew this out too much explicitly, but the more I read this book, the more convicted I am that I grew up peer attached.
Really?
Yeah. And I think maybe the opposite is happening for you, like the more
Definitely.
you see how you're parent attached. So it's interesting, like
Yeah.
not that we've intentionally drawn that out, but like the whole time we've been talking about this, like we've been coming at it from the same point of view on one level, but experientially, I think we've been
Right.
coming at it from two different sides, because I think you get to see the wisdom of the book from someone who's experienced the wisdom of it in being in a parent
Definitely.
attached, parent oriented relationship, and I've come at it seeing more of the other side of it. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that a strange feeling then?
No, I don't think that's a strange. I think there's a benefit in that. I think we have two different sets of optics on it. Hopefully it's a benefit to the conversation. Like we can come at it with bringing, two different sides. I would say that, like I've been off the scenes, out of the video, I've been trying to pressure Mike into just jumping to a conclusion. And Mike is, because Neufeld is very diligent, like a scientist.
He is.
He's like, let's look at the illness before we get to the cure. The better we understand the illness,
And the causes of the illness.
the causes of the illness,
the symptoms of the
symptoms,
illness.
the better we're going to be able to benefit from the cure. And that's
Right.
smart and whatnot. But as a result of a 4-part book, 3 of the 4 parts are focused pretty doggedly
Definitely.
on the illness itself.
Oh,
And I think for me, because I grew up peer attached, I enjoy the book. I enjoy the parts I've read. I tend to go deep into particular parts, and but it's a little bit depressing. I mean, I'm like, give me the hopeful nugget, give me the end. You know, like let's dwell on like I want to. Where's the cure? You know, like because I do relate to so much of it. You know, but it's yeah. But it's good. So I've been in a little bit of a purgatory of of like going through the somewhat of a not like a not like a like from 1,000 miles up view, like a little general, somewhat of a history of my own life. I can see in a lot of this, and then, but it's good. It'll be healing in the end. I'm ready to. But anyways, I bring that to Mike and I go, let's get to the end. He goes, Father, we will, but these are really good parts. We don't want to skip over them. They're really good. I'm like, okay, Mike.
Well, it's like most things. We just want the answer. We want the silver bullet or the one pill that's just going to make everything better. But it sometimes helps us to know, how did you get to that point where you needed the pill?
For sure.
Or if you're not at that point, how can I avoid getting to the point where, I need the silver bullet, I need the pill right now?
Yeah.
And I think that's why Neufeld draws it out more, so that we can all take a look at our own personal lives. And if you happen to be a teacher or a parent or a spiritual father, okay, where am I in this on this journey?
Right.
So that we can avoid some of the pitfalls, and we can rejoice and say, wow, I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
As a parent or as a spiritual father.
Yeah. I think that makes sense to me. I feel like because I'm not a natural parent, because I'm a spiritual father, and I feel like a lot of the case studies are less directly applicable to my life. Right. I'm more interested in the general principles and how those indirectly apply to my life and my relationships with parishioners. And so I feel like for me, the experience is like Neufeld trying to sell me on something that I've already bought into chapter 1. It's like, let me tell you how bad it is and how destructive pure orientation is. And I'm like, Neufeld, for goodness sakes, don't give me 25 chapters, right? I you had me at hello, and but I think I can see, and the rest, I don't mean to glaze over it. The rest is interesting and it is valuable, and I'm sure I'll go back to it. And in the segment today I think will be interesting and to people and valuable, which we'll get into in just a heartbeat. But I think that's part of it for me, is like, you're trying to sell me on this. But he's not really trying to sell. He's just trying to go deeper into the truth of it. And
And when you've already been sold on it, though, the good part about it is you're often not sure why.
Yeah.
I thought this was good for kids to be more adult-oriented, but why is that?
Yeah.
He's giving you the language.
Yeah, that's true.
And the resources to say, here's why.
Yeah.
So that it's like somebody says, why are you Catholic? Well, it just seems right.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't impress people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't draw people to your faith. But if you can say, oh, look at the beauty, look at this, look at, and you have you're well versed in your faith, people, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I am drawn to it.
Yeah. All the specifics matter. All the little.
Right.
Yeah. To get into it a bit, so we did want to do a really quick review. It can be on the brief side, but there was something. So to kind of start a review before we get into part 3, just like I wanted to mention part of how I'm coming at this. I think you see this a similar way, Mike. We're not saying that this is like Neufeld's not saying this is the big fix for parenthood. Like, this is the whole picture. from how I'm taking him. But Neufeld is saying this is a huge fundamental piece of the picture of parenthood. And not only that, but it's one that it's a piece of the picture of parenthood that we should naturally understand, but for some reason in our own day and age, we have pretty serious confusion about it and blinders about it.
Right.
And I think like coming at it via negativa, like why is this important from the problems perspective? In one of the chapters today, he was talking about aggression, and I thought it wasn't just a good summary of like why is parent-orientated relationships, why is that important for not only for like the problem of like aggression among children, but really for all these problems he's been discussing for 3 parts. He says, I want to pull the quote quick. Where did I put it? Here it is. He says, while aggression among youth is not always related to peer orientation, the more peer-oriented the child, the more likely aggression will be a part of the picture. Like, I don't think with many of the things that we're talking about, he's not saying that, okay, if your child struggles with A, B, C, D, E, or F, it's definitely because they have this. However, the more this fundamental part of the relationship between parents and child, the more it's not there and part of the picture. Absolutely, all these other problems are going to crop up and be more manifest.
I think he's good about saying that a lot of the behaviors that we see in kids have been there for a long time.
Yeah.
He was talking about 19th century literature when there were bullies in the schools and kids were mean to one another. And you can go back to your own childhood. I can remember, kids would get ostracized, kids would get poked fun at. Oh, you're a little bit overweight. You're different.
I unfortunately was on both sides of that for different little periods. Bullied and unfortunately participated in some bullying.
Right. And so what he's saying is there is something in kids that we, for whatever reason, kids can be cruel to one another.
Right.
But one of the things that's happened is we've taken away, he says, the sword and the shield. And the shield was the parents.
Right.
So that, okay, if I'm being bullied at school or picked on or ostracized or, they don't let me sit at the table for lunch, all those things that kids experience. I had a parent, if I'm an adult-oriented kid, I have parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles that are my shield.
Yeah.
I know they love me, and I know they will take care of me and they will protect me. They're not going to let anything happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a peer-oriented kid, you lost your shield.
Right.
You've also lost the sword that allows you to punch back to some extent. You remember the story of the little guys who the kids were making fun of him, saying, "You're not a soccer player.
You're not a good soccer player." Yeah.
And he says, "No, my dad says that I am a soccer player."
Right.
So he's got the shield, my dad, and he's got the weapon. I can talk back and say, I am a soccer.
Right.
It reminded me of that scene in Miracle where he says, I am a hockey player.
Yeah.
Right? Some adults in his life had said, you are a hockey player. Do not doubt that, no matter what anybody says to you.
Right.
And it's the same for an 8-year-old boy.
Yeah.
You are the soccer player.
Right.
If you're peer-oriented, you no longer have the shield. You no longer have the sword.
Right.
You just have because the only relationship that matters is peers.
Yeah.
Oh, the only relationship that matters is now walking out the door. I can't sit with them at lunch. They're not going to play with me at recess. They're not inviting me to the party.
Right.
Wow. What do I have to fall back on? I don't have the shield or the sword. And I think that's where he's saying
talking about vulnerability.
You're vulnerable.
Yeah.
And we all need to be, he says, all attachments are vulnerable.
Yeah.
I'm 64. My dad is 90. You'd think I'd be to the point where I don't need that attachment anymore. Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. I'm like a little kid.
Yeah.
And why am I mourning my father who died at my age? Because it matters, and it's the attachment.
Yeah.
And so it makes you vulnerable at any age.
Right.
At 8 and 80.
Right.
And he said that is absolutely what attachment is supposed to do,
Right.
to make you vulnerable, because then you're open to
Right.
the influence.
Right.
And that's good for your heart.
Yeah.
But once you've attached to peers who are no longer concerned about your vulnerability,
Yeah. Yeah.
now
Yeah.
it's dangerous.
Yeah. Let me real quick, just like in broad sweeps, just I know that everybody has probably watched the beginning videos, but I just want to do a quick summary and then bring us right
Yeah.
up to what you're talking
Yeah.
about here. So, in very broad sweeps, without rehashing everything, this book is it's about having youth that are oriented towards their parents
And adults, the adult
in
world.
adult world versus being oriented towards their peers, other children,
And the peer culture.
and the peer culture. And Neufeld that says it's a matter of attachment, that everybody in life
Yeah.
has to have an attachment. We have to be attached to, like, we have to find our relationship with our parents as being our primary attachment. And then if it's whatever we're attached to in life, whether it's our parents or others, that's where we get our moorings, that's where we get our
Yes.
values, our direction. And the two cannot easily abide. The two by nature are often in conflict, meaning that it's not simply this neutral thing if your child has a primary attachment to their peers, but it will, of its nature, because of the nature of the human heart, your child will be drawn into the values of their friends and opposed to you, meaning that they can't be equally,
You can't serve two masters.
can't serve two masters, and you can't be loyal to both
Right.
your parents and your peers in the same way and at the same capacity. And not only will you not, it won't be an even split between the two, but will gravitate completely to one side and will reject the other.
Exactly.
So Neufeld, in these first three parts, he's been talking about what peer-oriented relationships look like and the downfalls. And in this third part, which is titled Stuck in Immaturity, How Peer Orientation Stunts Healthy Development, he starts out by talking about vulnerability, and he talks about how peer orientation, at one and the same time, those who are peer oriented, they struggle with letting themselves feel vulnerable, but at the same time, they're more vulnerable than those who are parent oriented. And Mike was just getting into that, like with the, if you have that, so that brings us up to speed. So if you have that, parent oriented relationship, right? There's a certain level of security,
Yes.
right? Because, like, say, for ease of example, right? If Mike was my father, right, and if he was the moorings of my life, and if Mike spoke truth into my life, like, hey, you are a good soccer player, you are this, you're that, then I go out into the cruel world among my peers, and children, they do tend to be. They're not adults. Children are not adults. Yeah.
You've seen it in your own family.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When you were a kid growing up, think of how mean you could be to your siblings.
Right. But there's the child's more protected. Right. They can be. They have this shield. They have this protection, because of that relationship, because of the adult orientation.
Adults and kids recognize this. Adults are concerned about us,
right?
And then they take responsibility for that concern. He calls it there's a triad. He said there has to be, and he uses, I'm not sold on this word, but he said there has to be a dominance. Meaning, but what he really means is somebody has to be in charge.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
You can
He's
argue
using
about the
psychology language. Yeah.
And he said, and then it's followed by concern.
Yeah.
And then it's followed by, responsibility.
Yeah.
And he said that works well with parents. Yes, I'm in charge of you, and I'm concerned about you.
I'm responsible.
And I will take responsibility to make sure that you are safe and that you feel as if you are secure.
Mm-hmm.
Adults do that, and kids recognize it. I used to ask kids this question. I'd say, "Can you tell me your earliest memory of people being mean?"
Mm.
And it's amazing how early some of those memories are. But almost invariably, it would be from an adult. And I'd say, most of you are talking about adults being mean to you. Why not kids? They said, well, we expected it from kids.
Mm-hmm.
So early on, it
Yeah.
wasn't a shock to their system
Yeah.
when their siblings were mean to them or other kids because
Right.
they just expected it.
Right.
The memory that stuck out for the vast majority of kids was when an adult was mean to them. And I'd say,
Yeah.
why? Because my experience with adults is that they were kind and generous
Right.
and caring. That becomes the image of adulthood that we
Right.
have. And
Right.
it should be that, right?
Right.
Um,
So Neufeld talks about this. He says that
Yeah.
there is a two-edged sword to it, So at the one hand, on the one hand, when your child's attached to you as their primary attachment, they are protected from other children who are far more likely to say something cruel
Oh, yeah.
or to act not out of care or responsibility
Right.
or love.
right.
But at the same time, truth be told, the two-edged sword of it is so they're protected more in one sense from the group that might hurt them the most. They are more vulnerable to negative words that might come out of us,
Oh, absolutely.
out of
Yes.
parents. Like if you are the primary attachment, then your words, they matter gravely. I was thinking about that too. I mean, this might be going down the rabbit hole a little bit, but no judgment against parents, but I wonder if there's a slight temptation towards allowing peer orientation to go on just because, like, oh, okay, my kids care more about what their friends think. I wonder if there's some internal recognition in the heart of a parent of, well, I'm a little bit off of the hook as far as like wounding this kid, like, I mean, because I think I bring that up because I hear this from friends who are parents, sometimes, and they're concerned, sometimes I think an over concern about, because everybody's wounded by their parents in different
yeah.
ways. It happens. But like there's an over concern among, I think, the young generation of parents of like,
That
I
they'll-
don't want to wound my kids.
The way my parents wounded me,
Yeah, I don't want to do it or
Well,
whatever.
they should rest assured that they will,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we don't have perfect love.
Right.
There's only one source of perfect
Yeah.
love, which is why we're here.
Right.
You will wound your kids whether you want to or not. Even if you say I'm going to go out of my way not to wound them, you will,
Yeah.
because there will come a time when Johnny will want something that is not good for him, and
Right.
you'll have to say no, and he'll be wounded,
Right.
even though it was the right thing to do.
Right.
So
Right.
that's, but I think you're right. We can go. The pendulum swings, right?
Yeah.
Maybe in the 1950s, parents said, "I'll say what I want because I'm the dad or I'm
Yeah.
the mom,
Yeah.
and I'm not concerned about you. You'll grow up and figure it out."
Right.
And now we're going the other way, saying, "Oh, I'm so worried about it. I can't say
Right.
anything to my
Right.
kids." Both of them are dangerous.
Right.
But you're right.
I think it can keep parents from grasping
Oh.
or trying to make that secure attachment to them.
Right.
Because then not only are they enabled to parent, which is what we want for parents to be enabled to parents, but it puts the responsibility back squarely where it belongs. Not every parent experiences that as a easy yoke, though it's much easier if the attachment's there.
Right. I guarantee you,
Yeah.
it is 100% easier than when your kids become peer oriented.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might think now, well, it's kind of nice. They're independent. They're with their kids, their friends all the time. It's easier for me. No, it will be harder because eventually those behaviors will become something that you don't like.
Right.
And if you don't like the behavior of your kids, as a parent, it's a natural inclination. We got to change that.
Right.
Now we have this.
Conflict.
Now we have this conflict
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
You're right, Father. It's complex.
Yeah.
But I think what Neufeld is saying is, I'd rather have the concern and responsibility of adults than because somebody's going to
The
be
child's way better off.
yes.
Yeah,
Because
Newfield goes back to
if
that a
you
lot.
if you come back to a peer-oriented kid,
Yeah,
somebody in that circle is going to be, for lack of a better word, dominant. They're going to be the kids that take charge, or
Yeah.
whatever, of a particular relationship. And if they do that without a sense of concern for the other person
right.
and without a sense of responsibility, then that person is always walking on eggshells. Okay, did I say the right thing?
Right.
Did I do the right thing? Am I wearing the right things? Am I going to be in the group or out of the group? Every day is a minefield. Every minute of every day is
Right.
a minefield.
Right. So back to the book with this, like, so Newfield points out in peer-oriented relationships, what happens is for the child, because they don't have that buffer and that
Right.
shield,
Unbuffered.
right, they can so easily be wounded
Yes.
every day throughout the day by their peers. And as a result, psychologically, like, it's kind of a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
They start to learn how to live as though, act as though, even process the world as though nothing affects me.
Right.
Well, in reality, he says they're still just as vulnerable on a psychological level. They're still just as vulnerable to be wounded. But it's kind of like, it sounds like a kind of I don't think he uses this word, but it kind of sounds like a disassociation. Like they're able to
Right.
go, hey, I'm fine. So-and-so was mean. I don't care,
Yeah.
you know.
Whatever.
But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I think he makes 2 points there, Father, that you're hitting on and one is that why are there's so much more conversation today about bullying than there ever has been.
Right.
And he does make the case. He will talk about that aggression in peer-oriented kids.
Right.
But he also says part of it is without a shield, we all become much more vulnerable, which means we're much more susceptible to bullying. So we don't have the resilience to face it.
Right.
Oh, if I don't have the resilience, now it shows up as this is a problem. Before, maybe 30 years ago, yeah, somebody picked on me or didn't say nice things to me, but I could shrug it off and say, well, that's okay.
Right.
Now I can't shrug it off.
Right.
Because it means so much to me.
It means so much.
And so I have to, rather than walk the minefield every single day of fear that I'm not going to fit in, we become defended, right? He calls it defended vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And that means I have to make sure that I've built walls strong enough to protect my heart.
Yeah.
You know, that old Simon and Garfunkel song, I am a rock, right? I built walls to protect myself. We do it in a lot of different ways.
Right. Everybody does.
Everybody has to have some protection, to be
Right.
sure. But when that wall becomes so thick that there's no emotion,
Right.
he calls it tearless and fearless. Nothing can hurt me. I'm blue twisted steel, and I'm going to make sure I live that way. Well, there's a model for that in our culture, and it's called cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who do we admire in our movies? It's the guy who's so cool and nothing bothers him. You know?
Right. Right.
And oftentimes that takes the role of I can be threatened with a gun or with nothing shakes
phases me.
Nothing phases me. Well,
Right.
that's the cool that kids are adopting, and he says it's not that they're adopting it as a sense of putting on a mask. It's becoming who they are.
Right. Right.
You know, in the old movies, it was always the kid that was a bully. And then somebody would finally stand up to him and punch him in the nose, and the bully would cry and say, oh, and we'd realize, he had a hard life and whatever. He's saying that's not true anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You punch the bully in the nose, he doesn't cry because he has defended the ultimate sign of shame for a peer-oriented kid is to show emotion, to show that something hurts you, that you're vulnerable. So I have to get rid of that completely.
Right.
It's not just I put on a mask to try to hide it. No,
Right.
I've eliminated it.
Let it completely stagnate
Yes.
in the heart. Yeah.
And so my heart has become so numb that old idea that, well, the bully is just a softie behind all that. It's not the case anymore.
Yeah. He talks about how when he worked in like juvenile detention
Yes.
centers that part of the healing process was trying to get these kids to a place because not to jump around, but
No,
He-
you're right on.
he describes what's going on with our normal kids, like our a lot of the children, because they're all peer oriented, or a lot of them are peer oriented, what's happening on an interior level of like setting up these walls, becoming invulnerable when in fact they still are, that is something that was commonly seen all the time in children who have gone through extreme trauma
Yes.
in order to survive. But now it's not just a matter of being a part of the lives of children who've experienced, being orphaned, being abused, et cetera, but it's because of the turmoil that's set up from being so peer oriented, living without a shield is becoming commonplace. I guess where I was going to, Mike, though, so he, in trying to draw these juvenile kids in these juvenile detention centers into healing, he wanted to help them to feel again, help them to be
Yes.
honest about their emotions again, right? Like, why do you think, why is vulnerability for a child, why is that important for like healthy upbringing? Why is that important? What's so wrong about living with walls? Like what's the big deal?
It's safer.
Yeah.
I got all these walls up,
Yeah.
and nothing can penetrate. I have no need of love. I'm going
Yeah.
back to Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
I have no need of love.
Yeah.
Love just causes pain.
Right.
I got my books. I got my poetry. I've got whatever it is that becomes your wall.
Yeah.
Sports,
Right.
lifting.
Right.
We all have those different things. It's safer.
Sounds
But it comes a world without empathy then.
lack of receptivity, right?
Right.
Like not only closing up the wall isn't just closing what negative might be coming in
Yeah.
from you, but
Yes.
it's also closing up.
How are you going to love your spouse?
Yeah.
How will you love your kids when you say, I have to put up these walls of invulnerability? You talked about the juvenile detention centers. He said what shocked him most was when he walked into schools,
Yeah.
and they were exactly the same.
So
The
it
kids
feels
were
like a juvenile detention
the same
center
kind of
these days.
posturing, the same
Yeah.
kind of I'm so cool, whatever.
Yeah.
And he said it used to be reserved for kids who had really hard upbringings
Right.
and gone through, as you said, trauma.
Yeah.
Because when kids are traumatized, when you go through something of trauma, your reaction is subconsciously, I have to close off my heart because it's
Yeah.
too painful.
Yeah.
Well,
Survival.
survival.
Yeah.
And now he's seeing it when he walks into a school building. Well, if it's a group of peer-oriented kids, that is survival.
Yeah.
And he says, in some ways, our schools are like orphanages
Yeah.
because they have no adult in their lives.
Yeah.
They've, because as you pointed out earlier, you can't serve two masters. So
Yeah.
I had to push the adults away so I could fit in with my group.
Yeah. Living without skin is trauma. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like walking through the halls
Oh,
without a shield, walking through the halls where a word from anybody could ruin your day.
yes. Very hard existence.
That's very hard. Yeah.
And
Like who can do that without putting up walls,
without becoming uber cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he talked about one of his friends who was a teacher, and he taught Of Mice and Men,
Yeah.
which has such a, I won't ruin it for anybody who hasn't read the book, but such a heartbreaking ending. And I've taught the book many times, and kids, it breaks your heart to see what happens there. But in this particular class, kids were like, they were just dumb.
Mm-hmm.
They were stupid.
Mm-hmm. I don't read sad books.
What's wrong with them?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have an inability to feel any kind of empathy. Well, that doesn't bode well for a world
Yeah.
that we are all in need of empathy at some
Right.
time. Sympathy, empathy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's he's making some insights that
Yeah.
that I think as we peel back some of the layers of our culture that blind us, we can start to see, yes, that's exactly what's happening to kids
Right.
internally.
Right. Yeah. So once again, just to bring everybody up to speed, so in the first part it was the phenomenon of peer orientation as such. The second part, he talked about how peer orientation undermines parenting. This third part is how peer orientation stunts healthy development in
Right.
children, right? And this is what he heads off with. And it's a great place to head it off for this part 3. Is just this discussion of, of vulnerability and how peer orientation draws youth into this unhealthy place of invulnerability where the feelings are deadened,
Right.
and yet they're still being wounded, and they're still in a position to continually be wounded in ways that they will have to sort out at some point in their lives,
Right.
God willing, But I wanted to real quick, Mike, I wanted to go over, we don't have to hit on all these, but, and then we can move on to the next chapter. It says there's 4 reasons peer-oriented kids are more susceptible to emotional wounds than adult-oriented. We've probably covered most of them here, but just to give the headers and then see if we want to talk about any of them. So reason number 1, I think, is peer-oriented children lose their natural shield
Right.
against stress.
And we've talked about that.
Kind of talked
parents.
about
Yep.
that. Number 2, he says peer-oriented kids become sensitized to incentive interactions of children.
Which we talked about briefly. If you are peer oriented, then every single interaction is important
Yeah,
because that determines whether you're in or you're out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's kind of it becomes
Yeah.
hypersensitive. The third one, he says, manifestations of vulnerability are shamed and exploited by peers. I mean,
If you're the sensitive kid,
yeah,
things bother you.
Right.
Oh, I don't like to. It can be. I don't like to see dogs kicked.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a dog.
yeah,
That kid will be made fun of.
Right.
Because that's the ultimate shame, is showing vulnerability.
right.
I had
Because it's not cool. It's like, oh, you
I had a.
look at Mike. He doesn't have a shield. He doesn't know how
That's
to
right. He
protect
doesn't.
himself.
I had a student one time. We were watching the movie Dead Man Walking, and,
Yeah.
and it's about the death penalty, and so it's very emotional. And we could finish the movie, and it really hits kids. And I had a young girl who was very emotional. You could see, streaks. She had been crying at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
And she started talking about what it meant and how it bothered her and what it was like to enter into this situation of a death penalty. And a kid tapped her on the shoulder. I'll never forget this. He tapped her on the shoulder. I'll call her Joni. Hey, Joni, it's just a movie. Let it go. And I stopped and I said, no, you're wrong.
yeah,
Yes, you're right. It is a movie, but movies are designed, books are designed, art
Yeah.
is designed to create human emotion.
Right.
And when it does,
it's speaking to a truth.
it's speaking the truth.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it hit home
Yeah.
with this young
Truth
woman
matters.
so
yeah,
deeply, profoundly,
yeah,
that's exactly what art should do. And he had gotten to the point where, you watch a movie, you close off, don't worry about it.
Right.
Read a book.
right.
Well, that's
He was probably trying to be helpful to Joni. Yeah.
no, he wasn't.
Okay.
He was trying to make her feel stupid. Like, come on, can we just get on with the
Yeah.
discussion? But
Kids wound even when they're trying to be helpful. I mean, that you just say no offense
Yeah.
to children. Children, you're wonderful. We all love you. But they say stupid stuff.
right.
I mean, we as adults,
So it's
I would never expect. I mean, talking about the difference between children and adults, once again, not to rag on children, but I can't picture in my, I think it'd be like a 1 out of 100 probability of being in a group of children and seeing healthy vulnerability being received and shared. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen it in my life. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, like if you had some pretty mature
right.
high schoolers, but generally if you ever see it, there's another adult involved,
Yes.
trying to in a safe way, like
Right.
let it unfold, let it direct it, protect it when things are sad. But like, I don't think until I was an adult, and even further into adulthood, I mean like past college age, maybe it's even hasn't been until my 30s where I was starting to open up to, oh, and not in every adult group either,
No.
but okay, healthy vulnerability, like sharing in a way where you're exposing your heart in such a way where somebody could dagger you. You can do it in the right context with people you trust, and
Right.
like that's possible. But I don't even think I've only ever seen that possible in the adult context, you know.
Kids have it when they're young,
Yeah.
but they learn very early, don't do that.
Yeah.
And some of that's our fault as adults. Hey, we don't cry over that
Yeah,
stuff.
right.
You know. So we push kids because we think that's a mature way to respond, but
Somebody call the ambulance.
yeah,
That's my favorite. Oh, Joni crying.
Yeah,
Somebody
again.
call the ambulance. Yeah.
So, but
Such a
look at
dagger.
the title of the chapter, "Stuck in Immaturity."
Yeah.
He's saying to move to a point where you can cry or
Yeah.
you can be sad about something or show compassion is a move toward maturity.
Yeah.
It's not a move toward immaturity.
Right.
It's maturity.
Right. It gets better, kids, when you get older. Trust
Yes, it
us.
does.
Or it can. You still have to, at least when you're older, you can kind of pick more easily who you share with. Let's hear it. So of the 4 parts, he says, I think we hit the third one there. Manifestations of vulnerability are shamed and exploited by peers. The last one he says, and we've kind of covered this through peer relationships are inherently insecure. Peer relationships are inherently insecure. I don't want to over spiritualize this, but like something that was going through my head. Well, I guess I'm a priest and I can over spiritualize if I want, or it's not over spiritualizing, but you know, the scriptures. So Neufeld says, hey, it's your parents who, give you that secure, rooted understanding of the truth of who you are that you can walk in, and not to seek it from the world and not to seek it from the peers, but that vision that you come to see of yourself, like it's your parents who give that. And it's very scriptural, right? That it's
Right.
that, it is from your parents, but, you know, honor your mother and father and all that. But it's God, right? It's God who, you know, how do I know who Jonathan Fastnet is? You know, what is my mirror? You know, that not just it shows me my external reality of who I am, but what is my mirror that tells me who I really am, you know?
Right.
And is it the world? Is it some random person off the street? Like, where does it come from? Like the scriptures and the saints, they say, you know, it's God the Father, you know, who looks upon us and says, this is my beloved son. This is my beloved daughter, right? Who receives us like the prodigal. Like he's the one and the only one who ultimately tells us the truth of who we are.
Right.
Yeah.
And when we can discover that we're made in the image and likeness of God, we can move forward in a way that you can't if you're made in the image and likeness of, well, whatever star you're trying to imitate,
right,
or whatever your peer group tells you are.
Right.
And I think that would be the next step for Neufeld's book, is that we need adult attachment.
Yeah.
For our kids, and then we need a spiritual attachment for them, because even though I am the shield for Johnny and saying, Johnny, you are a soccer player, I can be that shield as an adult, as his coach or as his parent. Eventually, there comes a time when you need to have a shield that is not just your mom and dad, because they can't be with you forever.
Right.
You need a shield that says, when I move 3,000 miles away for a new job, I still have this image of who I am.
Right.
And that can only come through finding the love of God.
Right.
And believing it.
Right. And you find out, God willing, ideally, you find out that the truth that my parents were speaking about me, I thought it was from them. Actually, They were giving to me what the Lord says about
Yes.
me, right? Like the this truth of who I am and my identity. Like I thought it was rooted in my parents. Actually, I found out there's a deeper root, and my parents were, God bless them, but they were acting in this role of
Yes.
passing on to me this truth that God has to say about me.
He points out that peer-oriented kids are only what they're feeling at that moment.
Yeah.
That's who they are.
Yeah.
And our job as adults, if they're attached to us, is to let them know, no, you are not what you're feeling right now.
Yeah.
You are more than that. You are
Right.
a beloved son of God.
Right.
You're a human being with gifts and talents and dignity. So whether you're feeling sad
Yeah.
or angry or frustrated or joyful, that's not who you are.
Right.
Those
Right.
are emotions that you are going to feel day in and day out.
Right.
Well, for kids who don't have that kind of solid foundation, I am whatever I'm feeling. So I can only feel happy.
Right.
If I'm not feeling happy, then who am I and what's wrong? And I got to fix that. I got to find a way to be happy. You're not going to be happy
Right.
all the time.
Yeah.
It just isn't, you're not going to be happy sitting in biology class.
Right.